Hey, I am Rebecca Marshburn, the head of the Uncommon community at Common Room, and I wanted to talk a little bit about getting your community promoter score or your CPS. So many of you may have received a message from me today if you've been in the Uncommon Slack that talked a little bit about how community and marketing are really complementary and they can help shape each other, but they're also a little different. So while we take, ideas or what kind of ideas can we borrow from marketing and build on them to really understand what's happening in our communities. And so, inspired by a wonderful conversation at a recent unconference hosted by James Cattell and Venya Logan and a couple others in London, I was thinking about how we could do this for our own Uncommon community and how we can use Common. So I wanted to build on the idea of NPS, right, or a Net Promoter Score that asks a single question: would you recommend X brand to a peer, colleague, or friend? And so I really wanted to understand how people in their community were feeling and what their community experience was, and whether or not they were getting value from Uncommon in whatever way they measure it, and whether or not they would recommend it to a peer, colleague, or friend. This is talking about the Uncommon community itself, not Common Room as a product. So really, are they coming back to the community? Do they like this space? Would they recommend it to someone else because they find value in it? So I wanted to take this idea of a Net Promoter Score and really transform it for a community promoter score. So I'm going to walk you through how I kicked this off using Common Room, especially because after I launched this morning, September 21st, 2023, many of you, thank you so much, gave really wonderful feedback around like, hey, I didn't know you could do this, and I would like to take this idea and use it for my own community. So here I am today to walk you through this beginning, right, of how can we get a community promoter score? How can we easily survey our community members, especially if you have them in a Slack using Common Room? And then what might we do from here? How are we going to use this information? So let's just today focus on the how-to. So first I went to Common Room and I started from the members view. So as always, all of this data is obfuscated and anonymized and randomized to protect member privacy. So you're looking at Pied Piper, if you will. But this demo will walk you through how it actually works. So what I did is I went to the members view, and sources you could say Slack, but really what I did is I added a filter and I went to Slack as a source specific filter and I chose number of reactions. And so honestly, I just did number of reactions greater than or equal to 1 of all time. You could set it for different things, right? You could say, oh, I want it to be 365 days or the last 12 weeks or just 7 days, 1 week. But for this, I really wanted to keep it as broad as possible. If anyone has come to our Uncommon Slack community ever since we launched in 2021, June, I believe, and they've given one reaction, they've indicated in one simple way that they're there, that they joined and actually stuck around even the tiniest bit to react to something, read something, like it, love it, party parrot it, question mark it, then I wanted to be able to open my door to their feedback and really understand, maybe they've only ever given one reaction. And then if through this community promoter score survey, they're like, no, I actually wouldn't recommend this place, it's not valuable. They came back to answer me that. They're definitely someone I want to talk to really understand how they might find value and what might bring them back. So what I did is we found about 834 members, a few that I had when I originally created this segment because more people have joined. And then what you can do from here is you can, click on all of them, select all of the members and add them to a segment. So that's what I did. So I added them to a segment and it looks like this. Our CPS or Community Promoter Score member pulse survey in September 2023. I added the goal here. My goal is to understand how members feel about the value of the community, encourage referrals of community, DevRel and GTM leaders so more people can learn about this space, open the door for member feedback so we can make it more valuable for people, and offer a product learning how-to moment. So if people do like understanding how this worked and they're using Common Room and have members in Slack or Discord or something that allows us to send surveys via DM, then I want to be able to show people how to do that. So this segment includes community members, 1, who are specifically in Slack for us because that's where we host our day-to-day conversations, and 2, people who have reacted at least once. I had in the past year, I actually expanded that to all time. And as I said, the criteria are broad in order to best understand the whole of the community member experience. So this is what it looks like in a segment. So then what I did, right, is I created that segment and then I went to workflows and I said, I want to create a new workflow and I want to survey a cohort of Slack members. So when I click on this to create it, you end up getting to a workflow builder. And that workflow builder looks like this. This workflow is going to run daily, once daily around 10 a.m. PST. And then I said, what happens is I want the workflow to check if a member satisfies the following criteria. One, are they in the uncommon Slack? And then two, specifically, are they in this segment? So anyone in the uncommon CPS member pulse survey 2023 that has at least one reaction. So this workflow is specifically triggered off of members who I had added to that segment. I wanted to wait for working hours, so people would receive this, and if they DM me back directly, that it wouldn't be 1 a.m. my time, and I wouldn't be able to live respond to them. And so I put working hours between 9:45 a.m. and 5 p.m. PST, and then I sent a survey question, right? So I started off with some context, and if you saw it in the Uncommon Slack, this is what it looked like. I talk a little bit about borrowing ideas from traditional marketing space, and then how we might be able to shape and transform them to truly serve the community or DevRel aspect, and then understand how that community, we can take that information and then build those bridges into our GTM teams, right? Increase more referrals into the community, get more people who are in whatever your product is, right? Who would refer their peers, who might also be really wonderful prospects who would get value out of your product. And then we can start to build those relationships over time and make sure that our GTM teams are interacting when the time is right. And then also I say, I want to get discussions, learnings, and feedback going around what would make this space more valuable for everyone. And so that's the context that I provided. And then I got to customize my question, right? So I said that one simple question: would you recommend the Uncommon community to a peer, colleague, or friend? And then I set up our answer responses. So I said, yes, I find the space valuable, and I would definitely recommend others. Maybe I sometimes find valuable connections and resources here. Not really, I rarely find value here. And no, I haven't found this community space to be very valuable. So a little gotcha here: surveys cannot be edited after creating the workflow for the first time. And that is probably why you also saw, and thank you to many of you who let me know, I had tested this, it looked good here in testing. However, the answer spaces actually do get cut off, and they don't auto pop up when you're on hover. And so I would recommend making your answers a bit shorter than the ones that I made here. Thank you to everyone who noted this. And I wasn't able to edit it this time, but I certainly will for next time. So just want to call out that little gotcha. So then once I did that, you can save it, and that is exactly what I did. And then what you can do is all of these branch off into different things. So if the member answers, yes, I find this space valuable and think others will too, then I wait again for working hours, and I am able to give them an automated reply. Say, thanks so much for answering. You can invite people to join our Slack through this link, or of course send an invitation request and I can approve them. And then also, please do come and share any feedback you have for making the space better, what you love about it. Get to know me a little more, other community members at our weekly open community and product office hours. So you can customize these answer and automated answer responses with anything that you'd like, with any links that you'd like. I'm directing people to other channels if you'd like to do that. And then if someone answered yes, I actually automatically add them to the segment with a status of yes. So I said, if they said yes, add them to the Uncommon CPS member pool segment with this status. So I created the status as yes. You could search for create another status. So I could say, if I made another branch, right, I could say ask me later. And then I could say that they, answered with an ask me later status. So that way, we'll go back to that in a second. What you can do, right, is I talk about then if someone says, maybe I'd recommend it, or sorry, this one's not really, I really find value here, then I actually answered this a little differently. It's really important for me to know if you have any ideas for how to make this more useful. Please let me know. You're welcome to DM me, and you're also welcome to come again to our weekly open product and community. So each of these has a bit of a different, each of these branches has a bit of a different answer reply. And then again, I add them to a segment, right? So that they get added to the CPS member pool segment with a not really status. And you can do this for each of these and make sure that people are responded to in a way that makes sense with the actual reply that they gave you. And so after this happens, right, and everyone is answering this question, thank you so much. let's go back to the status, to the segment really quick to see what we've seen so far, at least as of a couple hours ago. So out of 828 members that were enrolled in this segment and that now have received, based on working hours, the survey, right now it looks like 50, 68, 70 have replied. So out of 800, that's a little less than 10% response at the moment. Right now it's overwhelmingly positive. That's really exciting. And then, there are 18 maybes, so I certainly want to follow up with them. They were auto-added to the maybe category based on what their responses were to that workflow. And now what I can do is I'm like, okay, I really want to know what would get maybes to absolutelys to yes, I really think people would find value in this space. So from this, I'm actually going to run some different bulk messaging from these. So I can select this all selection, right? And then I can say, you know what, bulk message everyone in this selection, all 18 members from my account. And then I can continue to composer. So what I might do here is say, thanks so much for answering. And you were a maybe, and I really want to make sure that we can get you to a heck yes. And so maybe I'll add a link to my Calendly invite and be like, hey, I'd love to have a 15-minute session to really dive deeper into what you would find more value in. So I might add a link to a Calendly. I might, send them another survey actually and say would it be more content and resources? Would it be more connections? Would it be more one-on-one mentoring? So there's all sorts of ways that I can now action, knowing what I know from this initial CPS or community promoter score and member pulse survey. And I can take different actions based on every single person and how they responded. So I hope this is helpful. I hope it was worthwhile. I hope the gotchas help you understand where we're at and some gaps that you might be able to fill if you take this up on your own. And if you have any questions at all, always, please DM me. I am Rebecca Uncommon Team in the Uncommon Slack. And you can find me at rebecca@commonroom.io always. Talk to you later. See you in the community.